I know I found it. Oh, there we go.
Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, here comes Roger and Valeria.
So everybody must get that option then that pops up.
Yes, yes.
I'm seeing nodding.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
And just so you know, you will get the little recording note because Rachel and I now have a YouTube channel for Healing in America Midwest. And so our hope is that we can post these to that YouTube so that when you guys miss or somebody can't be here, they could tune in later. So tonight is our let's record it and see how this works. See if technology is our friend.
Good luck.
No, there is something in the energy right now. Today, yesterday, that's kind of wonky. I'm not sure. I haven't figured out what it is, but
she might be right.
To get rid of our wrinkles and make us look young.
yeah. Just sit back a little from the camera and nothing will show.
I like that blur feature. Too bad it doesn't do it on our face.
I don't know if I get far enough away, it might do that.
I noticed they had emojis. You could become like, I don't know, some little character. I was fiddling around, trying not to fiddle around too much. And I said, oh, look, I could be a dog. That's awesome. A caricature of a dog, anyway.
Well, I don't experiment with too many of them because sometimes I press buttons and then I can't undo them. So I have to be careful what I turn myself into because I might not be able to get away from that.
I know I had to cancel a Zoom call the other night. I couldn't, I wanted to show some slides in the video and could I screen share? I could not. And in the end, I lost everybody. I mean, they could see me, but I just got a blank screen. So after about 10 minutes, I said, well, I need to practice this. So we put it off until tonight. So as soon as this is finished, I have to do another 2-hour session. But now I think I know how to do it. So I'm okay.
That's good. That's good. No, there's nothing like technology is great when it works. And when it doesn't, I'm at a loss because I'm techno dummy. So yeah.
I don't think it was technology. I think it was me, but never mind.
You don't have a video.
Sorry. But no, I didn't video that, thank goodness. Well, I was videoing it when quickly deleted it.
Yes. Oh, goodness. It is challenging. We have one more person it says is joining, so we'll wait a minute here.
Wait on.
We have a beautiful big group for this tonight, too.
Mm-hmm.
Roger, have you been affected by all that rain?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. In fact, we have a problem because the road that we're on, although the problem is about a mile further on, the whole road has collapsed and the bridge collapsed and everything. So they're stopping people coming up the road. So we have a problem with trying to see clients and all that sort of stuff because, you know, there's a barrier and the police are stopping people coming. So you're trying to figure out how to get around that one.
Oh, my goodness.
I keep telling everybody, just say that you're my cousin and you've come to visit. And I think we've got a big family. It's worked so far.
Big family, big family. Well, I'm not sure. Patricia, it just says she's coming. She must have been stuck. Let's give her just 30 seconds here. I think she's having some trouble. We'll see if she comes back. But first of all, just welcome everyone. What a wonderful group tonight. Beautiful, beautiful. We're kind of toward the dark of the moon. Maybe that's what the energy thing is I'm sensing. I read a thing today that said, hey, there are no Mercury retrogrades for the next, or not, there are no retrogrades for the next 2 weeks. So maybe I'm not the chill that we're in right now. Maybe the universe is just kind of settled. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
So how about if we I don't see this other person coming back yet. So why don't we just do our little meditation to get settled in tonight and kind of just link our energy a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So first of all, just settle in and make sure. And just simply notice the chair beneath you as it holds you safe. And when you're ready, take your attention to the bottom of your feet. And simply imagine that pair of beautiful golden roots growing right out the bottom of your feet. They go deep, deep into the earth, all the way to the center of the earth, like the roots of a very strong tree. And then take your attention to your breath. And as you breathe, just breathe deeply into your body. And as you release your breath, simply release anything from your day that you no longer need, anything that just needs to find its way. Release it on your breath and simply send it out on your breath into the universe, never to return. And next, just visualize yourself surrounded by a beautiful protective bubble of healing light. Just holds you safe, helps you stay in balance, helps you keep connected to those beautiful golden roots. And as you notice all of that, just take your attention to your heart center. Check in with your heart. And as you do that, intend to send love and light to all beings in front of you. And send love and light to all beings behind you. And send it to all beings to the right of you. And all beings to the left of you. Send light and love to all beings above you. And to all beings below you. And last but not least, notice that love as you direct it inward for yourself, that seventh direction. And just let that light shine from your heart outward. It's now radiating out in all directions. And as it radiates out, notice it connecting with each other person who's on your screen, who's in this Zoom with us. As we link and connect our energies, and then send it out further and further, beyond until it encircles the entire earth. So we are all now sending that love and light to everyone and everything on the planet. And just breathe in that peace and love and light. And when you're ready, bring yourself back into the room. And just wiggle your toes or stretch or whatever you need as you just come back to join us. We're all just now connected. And tonight, I know Roger has to scoot a few minutes early. So tonight, Roger, I guess I'll turn it over to you. You chose the topic for tonight, so I'll let you get things rolling for us.
Yes. Okay. Well, for those of you that were on the call last month in December, we asked if anybody had any topics I wanted to talk about, and nobody said anything. And then for some reason, I said, let's talk about anger. And after I finished the call, I got a bit angry about picking anger as a topic. I thought, well, that's a silly topic to choose for healers. But that's what we're going to talk about, anger. And also, as you probably know, a lot of the things that we come across these days are negative. You know, the news seems to be negative. Newspapers seem to be very negative and everything. And so it's important, I think, that we sometimes look at why we have to have so much negativity. Apparently, there are twice as many negative words in the dictionary as there are positive words. And so, you know, we tend to look for the negative stuff. And I know people say, well, good news doesn't sell newspapers and good news doesn't make, you know, good TV watching. Everybody's interested in all the disasters. I'm not sure as we are. But I know in England, they reckon, and England's a negative place, but they say that the time you're 18 years old, you've heard something like 144,000 times the word no. So we tend to be very, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, so and so on. But having said that, when I was living in Bristol, and I may have told some of you this before, but there used to be a newspaper, one of these free newspapers, the ones that they just put into your letterbox. It came out every 2 weeks, but it was actually called The Positive News. And that's all it was. It was purely positive news. And the paper or the publishers used to make their money out of advertising. Obviously, people used to advertise in this thing. And it was really uplifting, because what we tend to forget, I think, sometimes is just how much good stuff goes on in the world. And I think part of our job as healers is to make sure that we're focusing on the positive stuff rather than the negative stuff. So just ask yourself, you know, do I see a glass as being half empty, or do I see it as being half full? And I think the other thing that happens is that we tend to have I don't know why, but a lot of people seem to have a very poor image of themselves. You know, they say that they can't ever imagine themselves being financially secure. They can't ever imagine themselves having a nice home. And so we get caught up in this loop of these negative thoughts. A lot of people don't think they're worthy, which seems to be coming up a lot with my clients these days. They're coming up with, I'm not good enough. And I don't know where all these things come from, but when we want to change these things, we have to believe that we are worthy of things. We have to truly believe that we are worth a nice home, financial security and everything. If we don't feel that we deserve it, then we interrupt, if you like, the flow of energy into us, and that's then confirms what we believe, which we don't get all these things that we want. And I think that's what happens sometimes with our clients, particularly ones that have been ill for a long time. They've been ill so long that they can't imagine what it's like to be well. You know, and so part of our job, I think, is to try to superimpose a picture of health, of their health, on top of the stuff that's rumbling around in their minds. So there's no need to feel that we need to be poor. I mean, there is a feeling of poverty consciousness. I'm not sure where it comes from. It probably comes from previous lifetimes when we were probably all in convents and monasteries where we lived these sort of very ordinary lives. But there's enough money in the world for everybody, and there's what, 8 billion now, everybody to have something like $700,000. I mean, it's mind-blowing. So there's no need for us to feel poverty and so on and so forth. So getting back to our emotions, one of the things which I think we often think about is that there are some emotions that are negative emotions, and there are some emotions that obviously are very positive. And a lot of people seem to feel that as healers, we shouldn't even consider some of the more negative, what we perceive as being the more negative emotions. But when you think about it, emotion really is just energy in motion. That's all it is. It's nothing. It's a word. And so sometimes we get hung up on the wrong sort of interpretation of these things. So let's have a look at a couple of so-called negative emotions, and then we'll get back to the anger. So if one of the emotions that a lot of people go through is fear. So I think there is an attachment to the word fear of being negative, and therefore we shouldn't be fearful, we should be very positive and blah, blah, blah. So what if I was to say to you, and this is, I want to open this up to everybody, what is the positive intention, if you like, of fear? What is positive about fear? Anybody got any thoughts on that? If we define something that fear was good for, what would it be?
Well, it can be a warning system.
Yeah, absolutely. It can. It's exactly that, because if we allow fear to expand, if you like, so we don't address it, we just allow it to get out of control, it becomes panic. And that is a much more dangerous situation for us to be in. So yeah, it is. It's a healthy to us. So if you, for instance, let's say you're standing on the edge of a cliff and looking down and you feel fearful, that's pretty good. You know, you want to feel fearful standing on the edge of a cliff. And so there's not necessarily a negative charge to the word fear if we sort of expand it out a little bit. Let's take another. What about grief? A lot of people seem to feel that grief is a negative situation or negative emotion to be in. So if we were to change grief into a sort of intention, what's grief actually allowing us to do or telling us to do? Any thoughts on that one? What does grief turn into if we don't address it? Well, it actually turns into depression.
Yeah.
Depression really has its roots
Yeah.
based in grief, people not grieving. So if you're seeing clients that are very depressed, just explore with them if they've had any losses in the last sort of couple of years or so. Well, it doesn't even have to be a couple of years, but if they've had any losses, and it may not be loss of a loved one, it may be the loss of a pet, it may be loss of a job, it may even be somebody retiring. You know, they sort of lost the drive in their life. So grief really turns into depression if you don't address it. Let's take one more, which is an unusual one. What about envy? You know, again, as healers, we are not supposed to be envious of anybody. So what does envy turn into, do you think, if we don't address envy as a emotion? Any thoughts?
No, it's kind of it's like that lack or I'm not good enough type of thing.
Sorry, can you say that again? I just missed that bit. It's
Okay, let's see if my is my volume turned
yeah,
up
no, your
enough?
volume is fine. It's funny.
Okay. It's well, envy is like us feeling a lack or we're not good enough, like it's empty. So something outside of us has what we want, and so we're not looking within our own selves,
Yeah,
to find the answers. We're looking at the everything outside, like one of my favorite quotes is Gandhi had said, all that glitters isn't gold. So
yeah,
it's like we're looking at all this glitter out here and thinking, well, if I just had that, everything would be okay. But that takes us out of the moment, and can probably cause anxiety.
absolutely. In fact, envy, if it gets out of control, envy becomes jealousy. And as you quite rightly say, what envy is telling us, if you like, is it's telling us what we want. So if your next door neighbor suddenly gets a nice new car, you're a little bit envious. You think, oh yeah, I'm going to save up, I'm going to get a car. So it tells us, if you like, what it is that we want, or we think we want. So let's talk about anger, which is the topic I really want to talk about a little bit tonight. So what do you think anger comes into or turns into if we don't address it? What's anger when it gets out of control?
Rage.
Absolutely, it's rage. And anger really is, again, it's sort of telling us what we don't want. What it's giving us boundaries. We need, particularly healers, I think, we sometimes need to learn to say no. We need to put up boundaries around ourselves. So when we get angry, rather than it turning into, and you see this particularly with driving, at the moment there seems to be this almost like an epidemic of road rage. People get so upset about things and they're screaming and shouting and all this sort of stuff. So anger is out of control. It becomes this rage. So anger really, I looked at the actual definition of it. It says anger is an emotion characterized by antagonism towards someone or something that you feel has deliberately done you wrong. So that's what anger really is in terms of the definition. And I think what happens very often, and I mean this myself as well, is that sometimes when we're on our spiritual path, we feel, well, I shouldn't get angry. Sometimes, I feel it's wrong to get angry. And so we suppress it because we think, well, I should be above this. My vibration's higher than this low vibrational anger thing. So we try to suppress it, but I think we are humans and we're going through this human experience. And part of all of that is we need to learn this, to cope with some of these emotions, if you like. So anger is something which we shouldn't suppress, although we do, we push it down. So just as a show of hands, I can't see all of you, but if you at some time have felt anger, can you just put your hand in the air just so I get a feel of? Good, at least you're all honest. I like that. I don't feel alone now. So what I thought we would do this afternoon is I'm going to do a little meditation, and this may feel a little uncomfortable because we're going to connect with some of these emotions that maybe we've pushed down. We're going to connect with our anger, if you like, and just see whether we can sort of get rid of it. So if you're okay for this, we'll do a little meditation just for a few minutes. So if you want to just close your eyes and just relax. And I know everybody's fairly relaxed after Laurie's opening meditation. Just sort of be aware of your breathing. And what I want you to do, which is, as I say, a little unusual, but just for a moment, just focus on your own negativity. So focus on any pain that you have, any anger, any frustrations. Maybe there are people in your life that have upset you in the past, or maybe situations that you've been really upset about, really angry about. So just focus on those situations or those people. Maybe it's family members. And maybe if we're totally honest with ourselves, we still hold those negative emotions. Maybe we push them down, but maybe they're still there. So just tie into those for the moment. Just be aware of them. And perhaps we've suppressed these things and pretended they don't exist because as healers, we feel it's wrong to have these thoughts. But now is a good time to start to release them. So just, if you have any of these feelings, these emotions about a place or people, just focus on them for a few minutes, if you would. And then what I want you to do is just imagine yourself out in the countryside. And just imagine it's a really nice, warm, sunny day. It's a little bit difficult at the moment, I know, in some places. But just visualize that warm, sunny afternoon. And perhaps you can feel the warmth of the sun on your arms, on your face. And you find yourself in the middle of a field of beautiful green grass. And if you want to, just slip off your shoes for a few minutes and just feel that connection with Mother Earth. Really feel that earth energy being absorbed through the soles of your feet. And maybe in your imagination, just ahead of you, you can perhaps see a number of trees. Maybe you can visualize an oak tree, maybe a willow or a eucalyptus, or any tree at all that you feel drawn to. Just visualize that tree in your imagination and then walk towards it and sit down gently with your back against the trunk and maybe your hands just either side of you, just touching the grass. And really feeling that connection to nature. You're feeling very safe, very secure. And now I want you to go once again just inside yourself and just think again about that situation or person that's really upset you. Maybe it's someone in the past, or maybe it's still going on. Every time you see this person, that anger starts to erupt inside of you, or it causes you discomfort. And so naturally you have these negative emotions about them or the situation that happened. Maybe you were hurt in the past. Maybe somebody rejected or criticized you. Maybe someone deceived you or embarrassed you. So just examine what it is that you're feeling. Is it anger? Is it hate? Is it pain? Is it frustration or any other feelings that you might be experiencing at the moment? And then just notice which part of the body you are feeling these feelings. Is it in your tummy? Is it in your heart? Maybe in your throat. So now I want you to imagine from the bottoms of your feet as little bit like Laurie said a few minutes ago, just coming from the soles of your feet, these long tapering roots, like the root of the tree that you're leaning against. And just see those roots going deep down into Mother Earth. And then I want you to imagine all of these negative feelings, this pain, this anxiety, this anger. Just imagine all those feelings that you've been suppressing. They're just flowing down very freely, down through your legs, out through the sole of your feet, and then down those roots into Mother Earth. And we know that Mother Earth is able to transmute negativity into positivity. As you know, Mother Earth is a great healer. So all of these negative feelings that we've been allowing to flow out of us, that we've been suppressing, they're no longer a part of us. We can really move on now. Those feelings have left us for good. And then just imagine a beautiful beam of golden light coming from the divine, and just see that light pouring into your body through your crown. Feel that warmth, that love, that's radiating within us. Just bring in this divine love, this peace into our very essence. And then just send out thoughts of gratitude and appreciation for being here on earth at this very special time. And ask that we can be used in whatever way we can be of help. Allow us to help to bring a world of peace and love, a world of joy. And then when you feel ready, again, just very gently bring your focus back into the room. Just wiggling your toes, your fingers if you want to, opening your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. And hopefully we are all back safely. Okay. Any thoughts, questions, concerns? Anything anybody would like to? I hate the expression share, but if there is anything anybody would like to share, then that'd be great.
I think for me, what I experienced from releasing all the anger that I had recently, when I was releasing from the roots, I heard like a scissor just snapped, like all the negative and just transform into butterflies, like golden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
I thought it was kind of amazing to see that.
Brilliant. Well, that's a really profound visualization, isn't it? And yeah, thanks, Valeria. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I just,
Well,
were you going to say something, Diana? Go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, Lori.
Well, I was just going to say, as we did the meditation, it reminded me as I took my classes and did my healing work as I started down this path, it naturally, cleared my anger. And so I realized at a certain point that it was like my brain was telling me I should be angry. And yet, whatever you want to call it, in my body and energetically, I could not generate that feeling anymore. And so I realize now that when there is something negative, regardless of how people see it, they may read it as anger or something similar. But I think mostly what I get when I'm in that negative state is just simply frustration.
Mm.
Even changed my verbiage. I used to all the time say, oh, I hate that. Oh, and at a certain point it was like, no, I don't really hate anything. I may dislike, I may not be happy. And so I just found that there was this certain point where I had to re-language things and examine how I was feeling and what I call it, because I had been able, I guess, to release and shift it, even though that was maybe not always the purpose of what I was doing at any given time.
Mm. Yeah, good point. Good point. That's good. So you don't get angry about anything, Laura? Is that what you're saying, or you just get annoyed?
I get annoyed, and so to other people might say, oh yes, Lori, you get angry, but it's that inner, it's yes, I'm whatever, frustrated, annoyed, yes, please stop that. But it's that, whatever you want to call it, physical feeling of the clenching and the negative and all of that. I can't get there. Again, my head will say, oh, Lori, be angry, tense, whatever. And my body is like, no, I'm just really, really annoyed. So it is a shift in what I notice internally, even though, I don't know, I never asked anybody externally if I look different. But as I did the work, my mother one day asked me how I got to be so strong. And I had to sit with that for a while, because I thought, I'm no stronger than I was the day I was born. But I think that may be what she noticed, is that I was just calmer, more centered. Maybe it took me longer to get frustrated or whatever. But that's how she saw it, was maybe just that I kind of I wasn't flying up and down, like, oh, it's great, oh, it's terrible. I feel like when I found my calm in the storm, that was her feedback to me. So, again, externally, people might read it as something like that. It's been more an internal shift of how it feels and like the energy of it, if that makes sense.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. So you're much more level. You don't have the highs and you don't have the lows. You're more consistent,
Right.
constant. Good.
Yeah. And again, frustrated. It's not like I'm, Polly perfect floating around in my little bubble. But again, internally, I just don't have that same energy, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, that's part of the progression, isn't it? But I think that little exercise is good, even if anger isn't your thing. But if there are other so-called negative stuff that you think about, then again, it's a way of just releasing it and letting it go, rather than ignoring it. Because I'm a healer, I shouldn't be envious, I shouldn't be this. I think sometimes we're very hard on ourselves, and so acknowledge if you've got it, acknowledge it, and just do that little exercise or something similar, and let it go.
Yeah.
Diane, what you were going to say something as well, I think, at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had a client on Tuesday night, and she usually, a lot of times, like, we'll do some talking before we do the energy session and just kind of do some check-ins. And I've been seeing her for about 6 weeks now. And she said she was angry on Tuesday night. She said she was feeling a lot of anger. So I've been kind of thinking about anger, and it's funny that it's the topic. I guess not really funny, but I had already kind of focused on, I was going to write a Facebook post on my page about anger and some of my thoughts. But anyways, so to me, when I look at emotions, like they're messages, I look at them as messages. So when she was talking about anger, I had kind of learned a while back in when I was working that anger is kind of like this umbrella over all these other emotions that maybe we don't want to really look at. So anger is the easier place to go for a lot of people, instead of saying like I'm mad, hurt, afraid, ashamed, where we have to dig a little bit deeper and really understand what, what we're working with ourselves. So it's easier just to be angry and cover all of that over and maybe really deal with those deeper issues of what we would like to release, or, transforming that energy. We can't really do that work until we are able to see it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said to her, I said, well, if you couldn't use the word anger, what would you say about what you're feeling? She came hate right away. So we didn't dig deep. I just asked her to journal over this next week and just kind of see if she could find out maybe what was a little bit deeper in there that she'd like to work on.
You'll be seeing her for a little bit longer, I think, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good work. Good job. Anybody else have any comments or questions I'd like to ask whilst we're here and available?
Well, I know for me, anger was always something I didn't want to be angry, because, when I was growing up, my dad was a drinker and he would go from anger to rage.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, but not every time. So, it's the old, you're walking on eggshells every time through the door. And so for me, like if I got angry, that was just a bad thing. I'm as an adult, years later, because it was like, well, he was angry and his anger was just always like a bad thing. It was out of control. It was, you don't want to go there. So for me, for a while, I had to accept that I could get angry and it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I had to lose the shame around it. And yeah, it was, that was sort of my process of having to work through that. And, and I think I have now, and I don't get nearly as angry. I think partly because it's not such a taboo thing. It's sort of like, oh, it's just anger. It's not going to be like his anger. It's not going to be out of control. It's just, yeah, you're angry,
Cross.
And there's different levels, like there's, you could say angry, you could say annoyed, or,
Yeah.
It's just different, it's like a grayscale. But anyway, that was sort of how, my process.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Interesting.
I was just going to say that, Roger, I like the tools you provided, because usually if I get angry, then I suffer from guilt and I beat myself up for being angry. It just makes it so tool to not beat myself up for it.
Good. And we are human, we if we were all angelic, we wouldn't need to be here. We are supposed to experience these things. We're supposed to experience, the good and the bad, the happy and the sad. All these things, we're supposed to go through whilst we're in this incarnation. And so beating yourself up is not a good thing, and you don't need to. So hopefully that will help you a little bit to just allow this stuff to leave you. But thank you for sharing that one.
Well, and something that I usually talk to my clients about, I'll have people come with anger, like Diana mentioned, and as you do the work, boy, the anger, they'll come in and go, I'm not angry anymore. So then we can just talk about the emotion of it and that, you know, emotions are neither good nor bad, really. They simply are. They're our humanness and our reaction, but it's what we do with them, you know, so then we can take it to a different level and give them tools to work with. It's okay to be angry, but admit you're angry and then, you know, clear it, or, you know, take a walk or do whatever you're going to do to handle it, instead of, you know, whatever your old method was, yelling or kicking the dog, or, you know, whatever those things are. Because I found, you know, like Ellen, I found just a lot of people, for whatever reason, emotions were not okay.
Yeah.
You know, you're trained out of them, even if they're good emotions. I have one client who is like, I was never allowed to be happy. I didn't know what happy was. And now that we're doing the work, they're like, oh, Lori, I just want to be happy for the rest of my life. You know, so it is kind of accepting that there's all those emotions. It's what are we doing with them, and how are we handling them, or stuffing them, maybe not doing anything with them. That gets us into trouble, you know.
I had a lady some years ago now who was from Scotland, and she was, I think she was about 50, but she looked 70. And she was brought up by a very strict Scottish father who had a belief that life is not to be enjoyed, life is to work. And that was his motto. And he'd instilled this into this poor woman. And I listened to her story, as you do, and she'd had such a sad life because he had instilled this belief that you weren't supposed to enjoy life. You're not here to enjoy it. You're here to work. And I did some work on it. I wish I could say, you know, she was transformed. She did improve a little bit. And then she moved away, so I lost touch with her. But it's amazing how these things, which often come from parents, just can constrict our lives, or they can make our lives amazing depending on who your parents are and what the way they bring you up. You know, if you've got people that are very positive and they're very encouraging and all that sort of stuff, you don't have all the hang-ups that most people have, you know. So yeah, try to, if you feel yourself that you've got stuff, then good time to release it. Because we're changing, as we talk about every month we do these calls, you know, the whole planet is shifting at the moment rapidly. And if we want to create the world that we want, we have to live the way we want the world to be. And obviously ourselves, we're well on a path because we've done the work, or we're still doing it. But a lot of our clients are still stuck in the old paradigm. And we need to try to help them see that actually what we're doing now is creating the future for our children and our grandchildren. So we need to shift it. Unless you want to go back to what it was, well, you're going to go back, but we don't want the world to be what it was, what it was before. You know, this is a huge opportunity for all of us, I think, to make that great step forward. So, yeah. Keep working on it, on ourselves and on our clients.
Yeah.
Roger, you bring up like we're creating the world that we want. They are saying, like, with about our emotions, is that things have just swung to the extreme, you know, and I guess we're actually seeing the extremes, and that will never be without the duality, you know, because we need the one to be appreciative of the other.
Correct.
And what we're trying to do, as what we do with our own healing, is bring everything back into more of a balance, you know. It just swung way too far out, you know, towards the anger and rage and frustration and the negative. And so because it is free will, and now it's just that with all of the beautiful work and the harmoniousness of what we're being called to do from who we are as a humanity, is bringing it back more towards center. Yes, like you said, with the tools, we can release it. Don't make it a part of you. I kept myself in a loop for years in anger, holding grudges, you know. Wow, how much lighter, and I breathe deeper, and my shoulders aren't up here anymore. They're more down here as we've released so much. So I agree. It's all about balance. It's bringing them back into more of a center, you know.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, unfortunately I have to go. I've got a 2-hour Zoom call in a moment, and I need to read through my notes. So please continue with the discussion if you will. And I'm sorry to have to leave so early, but lovely seeing you all again, and I'll see you again next month. So thank you for inviting me, Laurie and Rachel, and thank you all for joining. Okay, take care.
Bye-bye. Oh, beautiful discussion tonight. I think his timing is perfect, because there has just been so much negativity and such. Yet again, what I see with my clients is that, you know, if you're willing to do the work, you don't have to carry that, like Rachel said. And so that's my joy in all of this work, is just being able to help people lighten that load. And again, I never thought about that I was angry or that I had anger until it started to disappear. You know, then it was like, oh, okay, I can't say those words with the vehemence that I used to say it, you know. Has anybody else, those who have been through the classes or have had healing sessions, have you noticed any shift in, I mean, it could be anger, but it could be other, whatever, what Roger called negative emotions. Anything else that comes to mind that's shifted for you, even as you've come and done these meditations and things with us? Anything you notice? Linda, yeah.
I used to hold grudges big time. I never thought I did, but my husband would say, "Oh, yes, you do." Like, oh, I better think about that a little bit. Well, just before this session tonight, something happened. It's another Christmas tree story, but my mother-in-law, who has passed several years ago now, but probably 30 or 40 years ago, she made me a ceramic Christmas tree. She used to do ceramic classes, and it lights up. And she asked me, you know, what did I want on it? And I said I would like the boughs tipped with, you know, white, so it looked like snow. And oh yeah, okay. So she and my husband's older brother came over to deliver the Christmas tree, and it didn't have snow on it. And she's like, "No, Jim's getting the one with the snow on it. This one's for you." And it doesn't sit just right on the base. So, you know, you got to play with it a little bit, but it'll be okay. I'm like, okay. So all these years, you know, I kept this tree because she made it for me. And you know, okay, I found the spot where it would set straight. And then the next time you walk by, it's crooked again. So you just fix it. And I just kept using it because she gave it to me, right? So tonight I'm putting it away, and I happen to look at the base underneath. And in the green on the side, she has my ex-sister-in-law's name scripted in there. It was for Jim's first wife, my husband's oldest brother's first wife, who, you know, brought the tree over with his mom when they delivered it. Anyway, I'm like, my heart's starting to beat really fast right now, just thinking about it. I just like, well, I'm like, what? This wasn't even made for me. Wait a minute. I think I got the tree that wasn't meant for me because it's crooked. And Jim wanted the one for he and his wife that was straight, and happened to have snow on it, and that was okay. Anyway, I'm like, what? I've been fussing with this tree all these years. And it wasn't even for me. And I'm like, okay, you know, there's all these emotions going through my head, like, and I just said to myself, wow, I don't have to use this anymore. I don't have to deal with this tree.
Did you throw it away? I would have thrown it in the trash right then and there. I'm sorry.
Texting his other brother, and he's like, "You want a Christmas tree?" Because last year, this is the weirdest thing. Last year, he came walking through our house. Remember, Mom made us all those ceramic Christmas trees. I can't find mine. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe the cats broke it. I don't know, but I can't find mine. Do you have one? I said, yeah, it's over there. He's like, well, where did you get these? Like, I went with. So now anyway, for his birthday last year, I bought him a littler one. Anyway, and of course his mom didn't make it, yada yada. But I just put out there, I said, Tom, I got this Christmas tree. And I said, it wasn't made for me. It has Jim's first wife's name in it. And he's like, nope, thanks anyway. Like the energy from this tree is just like, whoa. So anyway, I will happily take it to Goodwill very soon. Someone else can enjoy it.
And if it happens to fall out of the truck and break, oh well,
Time to release all the energy, right? Just let it all go. Let it all go.
Rod helped too, because there was some anger in that originally, and some like frustration, and some I wasn't good enough to get the tree I have. There's a lot of stuff going on with this tree. Whatever. It's been quite a Christmas.
like a pebble in your shoe for all these years or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have to straighten it anymore. But anyway, that's my story.
Well, but look, you can tell the story and laugh about it. I mean, that's very different than where you would have been had that happened like 10 years ago.
Oh, even much, more recent than that. I would have just held it like, what, Dorothy? What, you gave my tree away to Jim and Jonna? Like, anyway, it's over. I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Let it go. Good for you. Good for you.
It solves the mystery. Why I didn't have the snow tree and whatever. Anyway, too funny. Yeah, it's gone. Down through my golden roots.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we do our meditation, anything else just to wrap up? Man, the hour just flew by. Beautiful night.
I just want to say thanks for telling that story. That really made me smile. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for sharing that.
You're very welcome, Diana. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I think you should bury in the backyard.
Yeah, right? Maybe.
Down into the roots. Just put it down there. Just let
I like to walk back there, and I would think about it being there. So
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's gotta kind of leave the
farther away. Yeah. Understood.
You could always put it on top of the trash can the night before trash day with a free sign on it and see what happens to it.
Yeah.
Send it off with loves. Maybe somebody needs it, It might stay there and then it goes with the trash, but it might go to a whole new home, and who knows?
I like that better, because then someone doesn't have to pay for it.
There you go.
At Goodwill.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that periodically with things that have use, but like that, well, are you going to even take them to Goodwill? And we found all kinds of things that people have a use for. So they pick it up the night before, go home with their great gift, and I don't have to deal with it. I don't even have to take it anywhere,
True.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll do that. Means I have to hold on to it for a few more days, though.
You can put it in the
Linda,
garage, right?
Yeah, out of sight. Yeah.
we put stuff out at the road on any day instead of just garbage day, and it's gone
Oh,
just any day. Just put it out there, and people realize it's sitting out there, and they stop, they pick it up, and it's gone.
Oh, well, there you go.
great idea.
Yeah.
We put all sorts of stuff, and it just disappears.
It's a new home.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Repurposing, right? Or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rachel, would you like to wrap things up for us tonight?
Sure will. I'm gonna have you all settle in, get comfy in your chairs, in your nice rooms of comfort and joy that Linda has brought to all of us now in our environment of high vibe and humor. Just find yourself comfortable and seated comfortably and relaxed. Breathe in. And in that inhale, breathe in love, renewal, eternal calm, and peace. And on your exhale, let go on that out breath of any frustration, of any doubt, any judgment, fear, or pain. Take another deep breath in and let that love and renewal just fill your lungs. And exhale out anything else that feels stuck or that could be of a lesser vibration than love. And so now imagine a beautiful light coming down from above. And that beautiful light is radiating and it is starting to cleanse your crown chakra. See that beautiful light as it encircles and slows your crown chakra, removing anything like self-doubt. And let that light also regenerate and put forth maybe emotions of gratitude and gratitude for your connection to the divine. That beautiful golden light moves now down to the third eye. That beautiful light is helping to dissipate perhaps anything that's not of a rational thought. Maybe an exaggerated memory of things that, might not have been to the extent that they are. And in its place, that beautiful light is going to bring in an energy of reinforcement of a higher vibe of emotion, of possibilities, and things that are of your most highest good. That golden light moves now down to the throat chakra. That golden light is helping to release perhaps any feelings or emotions of shame, perhaps some things that weren't of the most truthful, haven't been spoken, and perhaps hurt others. That is being dissipated, that beautiful golden light. And instead, it's going to be replaced with words of a high vibration, of rewarding things towards others, showing the positivity and the gratitude for these beautiful souls in your life. As the light moves on down now to the heart, that beautiful golden light will help you release any self-doubt for the love that you have of yourself. it's going to dissipate that. And in its place, it's going to shower and radiate self-love. Self-love that is eternal. Hold on to all that beautiful, positive love for yourself. It's an unconditional love. With that unconditional love and the light and the power that goes out to the love of others and to the love of the world and to the love of our planet. The light now moves down to the solar plexus. The solar plexus, perhaps there might be some emotions of failure to maintain clear personal boundaries. The light will dissipate that. It will help to release those feelings and perhaps in its place provide trust. Trust in your intuition. Trust in you being worthy and worthy of all of the beautiful talents that you do have. The light then moves down to the sacral. Perhaps there are some emotions, maybe fears about making money, maybe fears about control from others. The light will help dissipate that. That beautiful eternal golden light will dissipate and have that move on down. And in its place, feel the light radiate and bring forth your nurturing spirit. The positive and supportive relationships in your life. Embrace the power of that beautiful golden light for the beautiful gifts that it is providing you in the sacral. And as the light moves on down to the root, it may perhaps dissipate any feelings of class distinction, religious, political beliefs that are not for your higher self. Perhaps family or social beliefs no longer serve you. The light will help you to release any of those emotions associated with any of those things. And in its place, it will enhance and radiate forth your beautiful connection with the natural world, your sense of belonging to nature, to your family, to your culture, to this beautiful humanity. So with this radiance of light that has flown through you, feel the love and protection in every cell of your body, in your etheric, in your emotional body, as well as your soul. And as this beautiful light radiates in and around you, I want you now to be aware of your golden roots, those going deep, deep down into Mother Earth. A lot has been cleared. Send all that has been cleared and dissipated down into those roots to be transmuted with it never to return. With a very deep breath, inhale. Again, the peace and tranquility of this beautiful light. On your exhale, gently bring yourself back into this room, wiggling your fingers and toes and open your eyes. And as you're more aware back in this room, I want you to breathe in deeply the unconditional love of this beautiful light and love. Your feeling of being safe, relaxed, and tranquil. So go forth, drink fluids, cleanse all those things that are not of our highest good, and make room for all of the things that we really are.
Thank you, Rachel. That was beautiful. Just thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. What a beautiful group tonight. Again, just a wonderful energy to it. I'm glad you're all here and hope to see you next month, always the third Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern time. Have a beautiful night too.
Thanks,
You too. Yes, thank you.
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Night.
Hi, everybody. Have a good night.